Welcome to the Sailing and Cruising the East Coast of the United States podcast. I'm Bela Musits. This episode is part of a series I recorded with Mike Malekoff during our sailing trip up the East Coast. We were relocating his Hunter 44 Deck Salon from Brunswick, Georgia to Burlington, Vermont. Please note that the video version of this podcast primarily features photographs and short video clips I captured along our journey. The audio was recorded on the boat, typically in the evenings at anchor or in a marina, although we did record a few segments while underway. Join Mike and me as we explore the United States East Coast aboard his Hunter 44 Deck Salon. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Hello, Michael. Here we are.
Hi, Bela. Another great evening on the boat.
Yes, and a really wonderful day. So we started this morning in Schuyler boat. No, wait a minute. Started this morning, I woke up in bed, and I had wet feet. And no, I didn't pee in my pants. So, it's been pretty amazing. We've been at least 21 days on this boat, if not more. I had lost exact count. And we've had very little rain. We've had excellent weather. Not a lot of wind for sailing, but we've had very little rain. And last night, I think around midnight or so, it started to rain. And I woke up this morning, and my feet were wet, and the blanket was wet, and the sheets were wet, because we have a small leak right over the windlass.
Under the windlass, actually.
Yeah, under the windlass, which is right above my feet.
Yeah, one of the ironic features of this boat is the windlass actually sits directly over the front cabin, and for whatever reason, instead of it sitting in a locker, if there is ever a problem with the windlass, it does drip down into the cabin itself, and it's also I want to say one of the unfortunate design elements in that the windlass, instead of sitting, I'll say, forward so it drains or drips into the chain locker, it actually sits back a little bit so the water can collect there, and I've had that problem before, but I saw somebody else that had this problem and put a drain there that drains into the locker, and I felt so bad about this when Bela told me this morning, because ever since I put the drain in months ago, I have not had one drop of water coming down from the windlass, and I was just shocked that it started leaking again. But I guess that's life on a boat, and we have a science project now in your cabin there with the fan and the heater.
We have fans and heaters trying to dry the sheets. We got pots and pans underneath where it's dripping because it's been raining all day long.
No, it's not been raining all day long. It has been torrential downpours all day long. And it did. It started sometime during the night, and it was predicted to rain. And when we did get started this morning, it wasn't that bad. It was just a light drizzle, and we've got the right weather gear and everything, and we started out and left the marina and made our way to the first lock, which was like a mile or so, and then the skies opened up. The first lock was fine. It was just drizzling, I think, at that point. And the other beauty this morning, though, in staying where we did, is that we were right at the entrance of lock number 5, a total of 12 locks that we had to go through, and we were the only boat. And it made a big difference from yesterday when we were juggling with 6 other boats trying to fit into a lock.
Yeah, it certainly made going through the locks a lot less stressful, because all we sort of had to do was worry about ourselves. And there was a couple times, they have these ropes that hanging down the side of the lock, and what you try to do is you try to grab one of those. One person near the front of the boat, I try to grab one, and then Mike would try to grab one towards the rear, and you just kind of hold on to those ropes as they fill the lock to hold your boat close to the wall. When you're the only boat in there, a lot of space, and there was, I think, once or maybe twice where we missed the first grab, and we had to move further, to the next set of ropes, which is another 10, 20 feet further into the lock. But yesterday we couldn't have done that because there were boats all around us. So the lock was filled to max capacity. So going through the locks by yourself or with maybe one other boat or two other boats does make it a lot less stressful. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And so we did 7 locks today. We did 4 that went up. In other words, we were going uphill. And then we did 3 on the way down. And the way down, the last lock is in Whitehall, New York, which is right at the southernmost end of Lake Champlain. And there's a marina. As soon as you come out of the lock, there's a marina there. And so we are now officially in Lake Champlain at the Whitehall Marina. And it's another interesting marina that has been pretty representative of things along the canal system. Mm-hmm. They don't look like they're thriving financially, is maybe one way of saying it.
Rustic would be the...
Rustic? Is that the proper terminology?
That would be the proper terminology. It's rustic. But the people are nice.
People are nice. We went to the restaurant here. We had dinner. Dinner was fine. Very reasonably priced, I think. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So for dinner, we had a couple of drinks. And it went quite well.
So are we going to go back and talk about the locks and the rain?
Yes.
And... the rain wouldn't, as you've pointed out to me several times, since you were the one that would have to go outside the boat first, and you were out there the whole time, getting me into the lock because it was raining so hard, and I do have a complete enclosure, but Isinglass does not have windshield wipers. So essentially my windshield, you imagine driving your car without windshield wipers. It's hard to see. Plus, imagine your car with a mast in the front of the car with ratchet straps and things hanging down. So visibility is tough. So Bela had to go out on the front of the boat to sort of direct me into the lock to make sure I was staying away from the concrete walls going in. And he was doing this while it was actually coming down in buckets. So I think you termed today as wet, and more wet.
That's right.
And I got to enjoy the wetness myself, going out and helping once we got into the lock. But Bela took the brunt of it, of having to go out 7 times. Because if we didn't have to go through locks, we could have stayed in the enclosed cockpit of the boat and we would have been perfectly dry. But that wasn't the case today. And it also seemed every time we pulled into a lock, the rain intensified even more if it wasn't bad enough.
So let's talk about wet weather gear. So, I've been dragging my Helly Hansen rain jacket around on this whole trip. And today was the first day I broke it out and actually used it. And it kept me nice and dry. So my hat's off to Helly Hansen. You have a Helly Hansen jacket as well.
And pants.
I have a pair of ski pants that I used. Nice waterproof Gore-Tex ski pants that worked really well. So I stayed pretty dry. We used Mike's secret sauce of dishwashing rubber gloves over our hands. So that went well, except one time I didn't put them on exactly right, and the cuff acted like a funnel, and it caught all the rain, and when I took the gloves off, I had to pour the water out of them. But our hands didn't get grimy. But the one thing I didn't have, that Mike did have, was I did not have boots, and Mike had rubber boots.
When you lived in Vermont, as long as I have, it's essential that you have some sort of rubber boots. I have actually 3 or 4 pair because Vermont, with a lot of dirt roads, dirt driveways, dirt, mud, snow, slush, you have rubber gear. So I fortunately brought one of my rubber boots on the boat, and fortunately my feet stayed mostly dry.
Yeah, I think after the third lock, when I was out there for the third lock, it was raining really hard. My feet finally got wet. So, and then my feet were wet the rest of the day, which didn't make me pleasant. There were occasions when I was not as pleasant as I normally am.
And to top off being pleasant, let's talk about the locks.
Yes.
And the lock masters.
So, Mike, if you were a lock master and a boater called you and said, "Hey, I'm down here, I'm heading northbound, I'm about a half a mile out, just want to get some information on how things are," would you reply on the radio back to that boater?
No, I wouldn't.
Excellent. You're hired. It was remarkable how many times lock masters or lock workers, I'm not sure what they're called, lock attendants, would not reply on the radio, and we'd call them 2-3 times, not a reply, and so we'd just keep coming towards the lock, and then all of a sudden we just see the gates open and the green light turn on, and a lot of these locks have a red light and a green light. The green light tells you it's safe to enter. The red light says don't come in here. And so, we see the gates open or the doors open, and the green light would turn on. We'd come in, and we'd be, particularly on the ones, the first 4, we're 15, 20 feet down below the top of the lock. And on every one of those, the lock attendant would come over and yell down to us. Now we're 20 feet away. Our engine is idling.
The water is swirling.
The water's swirling. "What's the name of your boat? What's your registration number?"
And the irony of being asked this in every lock is all the lock attendants talk to each other. So you would think if you gave it to the attendant at lock number 1, that would suffice for the 12 locks that you go through. But no, it does not suffice. That each lock attendant asks you the same questions, your registration number, your boat, your this, your that, and they're screaming at you from the top many times while you're trying to secure your boat to the side of the wall, and they're looking for this information. Now, today it wasn't as bad because it was only us. Yesterday, when it was 6 of us, they would walk from each boat on the side, walk all the way down to the end of the lock, cross the lock, and walk slowly down. It was a 15-minute process to get the names and everything. And then when he got to the last boat, he'd turn around and walk all the way down, all the way across and back again. So it just added to the angst, I guess you'd call it, because you're standing there holding on to these slimy ropes, just wanting to get through the lock. And the water is turbulent in there as they're preparing and when they start. So it was frustrating, but the icing on the cake today, would you like to go into that? Or
Well, first I was going to say that if they waited till the lock was 3/4 full or full, then
Yes.
It's a normal conversation you can have with them because they're standing 3 feet away from you,
right,
as opposed to yelling down into this cavernous echoing chamber to get the number. But so be it. So today we approach lock number 11.
only 2 to go.
Only 2 to go. We're
in
feeling
the home
good.
stretch. We can see the finish line.
My feet look like prunes.
We're 4 miles away from the last lock. 2 to go, and
Mike gets on the radio. Lock 11, this is Canby Island. We're approaching you from the south, looking for an opening. Nothing. Waits 30 seconds to a minute. Tries to call again. Nothing. Waits 30 seconds to a minute. Calls again. Nothing. Gets on the phone. Calls.
I had the phone number.
So Mike is a great preparer. So he had the phone number. So each one of these locks has an office, little building there with a phone number. You can look it up online. Mike calls the phone number. No answer. I mean, what the heck's going on? Mike was wise enough to say, okay. And he called lock 12, which is the next lock after lock 11.
Yeah, which is only a a couple miles down the road.
And the person answers, and he says, "Oh yeah, the person at lock 11 didn't show up, so let me lock up here at lock 12. I'll drive down there. Take me 20 minutes to drive down there, and then I'll open up the lock for you." Great. And I mean, if Mike wouldn't have thought, I don't think I would have thought of doing that. I would have sat there and been calling every half hour, and I would have sat there probably for a day.
Because how can someone not be at the lock?
At the lock, right. Or you got to do something. Anyway, he told us it'd take him 20 minutes to drive down. I think it took him 15 or a little less.
He got down there fairly quick.
He was very nice. He apologized. And
well, he actually complained to us and said, "Why didn't they call me and alert me that you were coming? Because then I would have been here for you." We really don't understand any of their communication systems within this lock canal system, because their communication to the navigators, the mariners, is terrible. Their communication online is terrible. They don't answer their phones. And I feel for some of these guys, because they do admit they're short-staffed, and some of these guys are covering 2 locks. So they open the lock for you, they close the lock, they get in their car, and they drive to the next one. And you can imagine people are coming the other direction as well. So it's a very chaotic type system. But it was nice he got there, he got us through, and the beauty of it is he was then going to the last lock to let us through there, and by the time we got there, he had already opened the gates, had the green light on, and in we came. And we can check that box, as they say, Bela, that you have now been certified as an official canal
Champlain Canal transitor.
Yes.
And on a rainy day.
Rainy day
all day
is an understatement. So basically, you got to experience a lock system, and I'm glad that you weren't that I was not taking my boat to the Great Lakes and going through the Erie Canal with 45 locks.
Right. Yeah. That boy, that's got to be a real pleasure. So anyway, here we are in the southernmost end of Lake Champlain in Whitehall. We had a nice dinner here at the restaurant at the Marina. It's still raining out, so we weren't going to walk downtown, and Bela forego his ice cream tonight. And tomorrow, it's supposed to be a windy day, so sometimes Lake Champlain can get a little bit nasty on windy days. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Now, we won't be sailing, but the waves can get pretty steep and pretty close together. So we'll see. But we're planning to head north tomorrow, and hopefully, today's Saturday, tomorrow will be Sunday, and hopefully by Monday night we'll be in Burlington.
That is the goal. So 2 more days, Bela, on this adventure of ours.
Yep. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll give you an update shortly.
And stay dry.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to contact us at sailingtheeast, that's all one word, @gmail.com. That's sailingtheeast @gmail.com. Thanks for listening.